My name is Grace and I am 32 years old. I'm a working mom living with a husband who works in an office and our daughter Paloma. Paloma is currently in the 1st grade, but one summer, before she started preschool, our family visited my grandparents in the countryside. My grandparents has something to say.
Grace, we need to talk.
We need to get Paloma's opinion too. Opinion about what?
About Paloma's preschool. There are so many dangerous incidents in the city. I'm so worried I can hardly sleep at night.
You look like you had a nice nap earlier, though. But really, I'm very worried. So how about this preschool for Paloma? There's an entrance exam, but Paloma is smart and I'm sure she'll pass. With that, Grandma handed me a brochure for a very expensive preschool. We don't have the money for this.
We'll cover the costs. Just think of it as a ride on the Titanic.
Grandpa, the Titanic sank, remember?
Oh, right. Well, what do you think of this preschool? My best friend is the principal, and I think it's perfect for Paloma.
At our age, depending on our grandparents, financially felt a bit uncomfortable, but Paloma showed a lot of interest in the preschool. So my husband and I decided to respect her wishes and enroll her in the expensive preschool. However, that's where we encountered the worst people. One morning after dropping Paloma off at preschool when I was about to leave, "Good morning, Grace. Off to work again? It must be tough being a working mom from a poor family." This was Susan, a woman dressed head to toe in designer clothes. Her husband is the CEO of a major company, making her one of the elite moms. Susan always had a group of moms who worked at her husband's company following her behind. "And look at your outfit, so ragged." "We really don't need people like you at this preschool. It lowers our standards." Here comes Susan's assistants, Anna and Lisa. Why do I need to wear designer clothes just to drop off my kid? Excuse me, I'm in a hurry. Ignoring people like them is best. They just criticize without causing any real harm. Even though their constant comments were irritating and stressful, I had no time to deal with them. But then something happened that I couldn't ignore. About a year and a half after Pami started preschool, I went to pick her up and saw her playing in the yard with Susan's child. Anna's and Lisa's children were there too. "Hey, what are you doing?" Susan screamed, and out of nowhere, Anna and Lisa appeared, rushing to their children. "I told you not to come 5 meters near Paloma. If you get too close to her, her property might transfer to you." How can you say something like that to children? Are you even adults? "What are you talking about? It's only natural to tell your child not to associate with poor families. Poor people can't possibly provide a proper education for their children. If our kids hang out with them, they might end up going down the wrong path. It's a parent's duty to ensure their children don't get involved in misconduct." Just then, the teacher of Pami's class came running over and asked what was going on. "Oh, it's nothing. Let's go, Paloma." I said that, greeted the teacher, and left with Paloma. Those people are really troublesome, but I am grateful to my grandparents for recommending this preschool for Paloma. According to Paloma, kids like Sam's, Tommy's, and Sarah's mothers tell them not to be friends with Paloma, but they still play together. Paloma loves this preschool and says she enjoys every day here. I don't want to disappoint my grandparents, and since the kids are getting along peacefully, I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so I kept quiet about Susan and the others. But every time I saw them at the preschool, I went into battle mode. "Well, here poor little Grace comes. When are you going to leave this preschool?" "Doesn't the part-time homemaker with a minimum wage husband realize she doesn't belong here?" "I wonder if she doesn't realize how out of place she is. Low-class people can't even understand that much." "For sure. Their brains are just different from ours." "Excuse me, I'm busy." "Don't worry. My battle mode is complete indifference, totally ignoring them and not engaging at their level. But ignoring them just made them angrier, and they said even nastier things. "Are you deaf? At least answer me. Say something." Just then, the teacher, hearing the commotion, came back with the principal. Oh, now the principal is involved. The principal rebuked Susan and the others, but as I expected, that night my grandfather called.
I heard about what happened at preschool. I'm so sorry.
No, please don't apologize. I'm really grateful. Besides, it's only a little longer until graduation. At that point, Paloma had only about 6 months left until graduation. Those people are annoying, but other than that, it's a great preschool. Paloma enjoys it, and the preschool goes up to college. But those 3 kids are applying to different elite schools, so it's just a bit more to endure. That's what I told him, but...
No, this is unacceptable.
What?
My dear Grace and Paloma have been mistreated. I'll deal with them. They won't know what will hit them.
Deal with them? Grandpa? Hello? Hello? And Grandpa hanged up. Shortly after, it was time for Pammy's graduation trip. Parents were also attending, and of course Susan, Anna, and Lisa would be there. I thought there's no way I can enjoy this trip with them, but I had a reason to go. As soon as I arrived at the meeting point designated by the preschool, Susan, Anna, and Lisa started bothering me again.
Oh, Grace. Can a poor person really afford to stay at a luxury resort? Are you sure it's okay to push yourself like this when you're so poor?
Yes, the place we're staying for this graduation trip is a super luxury resort.
The principal said they got us a discount, but can you even afford that, Grace?
Are you sure about the money? These 3.
The resort we are heading is owned by someone my husband works with. Wow, to have a connection with the owner of a luxury resort, as expected from Susan's husband. The reason the owner told the principal we could stay at this luxury resort for a discounted rate is definitely because the owner must know my husband's child attends this kindergarten. So, if we can stay at this super luxury resort, it's all thanks to me. Exactly. Everyone, please be on your best behavior at the resort. It could affect my husband's company's reputation. Got it? Yes.
Whatever. So we arrived at the resort and headed to the reception desk.
Well, I am grateful to the owner here. I am the wife of the president of a big company that everyone knows.
The principal was about to complete the lodging procedures for all the participants of the trip when Susan pushed aside the principal and ran out in front of the woman at the reception desk.
Thank you for hosting us. Everyone, please introduce yourselves,
Susan said to the other moms and kids. At that moment, the receptionist looked at me and bowed deeply.
Welcome back, miss.
Huh? Miss?
Huh?
Wait, what is going on here? It's because the owner of this resort is my great-grandfather. What?
Yes, Grandpa is the owner of this resort. My grandmother used to manage it, but she's retired now. My grandfather, after hanging up the phone with me, decided he wanted to personally see them and teach them a lesson. So he told the principal to use our resort for their graduation trip. Susan and the others seemed to be misunderstanding something. It's not because of Susan's husband at all.
Paloma, glad you made it.
Great-grandpa and great-grandma too. Welcome back. I came along because I was worried about him being alone. So, you're Susan, I presume? Yes,
Oh, how dare you be so rude to my beloved Grace and Paloma? Which one is Lisa and Anna?
Grandpa, this woman must be Lisa and that woman must be Anna. As soon as I mentioned the name, they both started trembling.
I see. Your husband's work at that famous company, right? Grace told me about it. Did your husbands tell you that I'm a major shareholder in that company?
What? Really? I didn't know, but it seems Susan and her friends did. Considering it, it made sense. My grandpa owns shares in several companies, and the principal of the preschool is his old friend. Many kids attending the preschool have dads who work at the company where Susan's husband is the CEO. Grandpa probably bought shares out of loyalty to his friend's company. He's big on those kinds of values.
Now let's call your husbands. I need to report that my precious granddaughter and her mother have been harassed by their wives.
Oh, wait, please. If you do that, our husbands will be furious. Please forgive us. We'll do anything.
We didn't know the owner of this resort was Grace's grandfather. Whether the owner is my grandpa or not, you said things you shouldn't have. Don't you realize that?
These people don't regret at all. Great Grandpa, go ahead and call.
He's already calling.
Hello, is this the CEO? Your wife, Susan, has been...
As Grandpa started talking on the phone, Susan and her friends collapsed to the floor. A few hours later, their husbands arrived at the resort and dragged their wives away, but not before apologizing very much to Grandpa, Paloma, and me. Grandpa made it clear to Susan's husband that he planned to cut ties with their company. Susan's husband is a second-generation CEO. The previous CEO was a great person, but Susan's husband has been quite reckless compared to his predecessor. Grandpa was already planning to sell his shares. As soon as Grandpa sold his shares, the company's performance dropped. Many people in large companies made decisions based on Grandpa's recommendations. The three women had constant issues with their husbands and eventually all got divorced. Their children were taken by their parents. All the husbands became unemployed. Susan's husband's company went bankrupt, leaving him with a huge debt. They were in no position to care for their children. The three women, used to their luxurious lifestyles, quickly fell into debt. Susan was chased by loan sharks, and Anna and Lisa became homeless. It was their own fault. Meanwhile, I enjoyed the peace and quiet without those troublesome people around. Paloma graduated from preschool and started elementary school. My grandparents came over to celebrate. Congratulations on starting elementary school, Paloma.
Here's a present for you. Wow, it's the science book I wanted. It's so rare. Thank you. And here's another gift. Congratulations, Paloma. What is it? It's a shrimp costume.
Whenever you feel like being unmotivated, you can wear it to lift your spirits.
Unmotivated? When would she feel like that?
Great Grandpa is so funny.
Yes, he always lightens up the mood. He's the life of the party. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more of Grace's unique adventures. I'm so restless, so restless.
There's nothing we can do about it.
Just keep things as usual. That's all we can do.
That's true, but...
Hi, Angie.
Oh, hi there, Tom. Welcome. Oh, you're here alone?
I think the others will be here soon. I got nervous and arrived early.
I understand, so please come in. Hello, my name is Angelica, but everyone calls me Angie. As you can see, I'm a transgender woman. I used to be the mama at a gay bar, but now I run a diner called Angel's Delights. I'm also raising my non-biological daughter, Amy. She's my true child, and my best friend Sharon lives with us too. We're a cute little family of three. By the way, our part-time worker is off today. He's a regular college student, pretty busy. Today's guest has a bit of a backstory.
Huh?
How long has it been since you last met?
It's been 2 years since the divorce. They want to meet once before the university entrance exams start.
Feels like it's been a long 2 years, but also like it went by very fast.
For sure.
2 years ago.
Hey, could you start working properly soon, Tom?
I've told you so many times. I'm a telecommuter and I'm earning properly. If not me, who's going to support this household financially? You're a full-time homemaker, so you should know that. Have there been times when you've made it difficult to live?
I keep telling you every day that Dad and Mom says that those who don't work outside the home are jobless people.
Oh, not again. My name is Tom. I'm a 42-year-old freelance writer. Currently in 2022, I'm wrapped up in the COVID-19 pandemic. When daily life began to return as the pandemic settled down, I was a writer working for a publishing company. However, with COVID-19, I can no longer conduct direct interviews. So, remote work has become the mainstay. Also, due to increased SNS work with serialized articles, I decided to resign the company and become an independent writer. I've had experience writing scenarios as a hobby and have been able to accept a wide range of jobs, and in about 2 years, I've been able to earn up to $5,000 a month. My wife and daughter had not been saying anything, but I was the presence of my in-laws' parents that makes things worse. Why don't you get out of your room already? I know you're in there. Dad, what's going on? Corona's mostly over, so why are you still locked in the house? Aren't you supposed to be the breadwinner? I've told you many times my work is done remotely. I do occasionally go for face-to-face meetings with companies, but I'm not a shut-in. That's not real work. If you want proof, I can show you my monthly statements and my tax returns for the past 2 years. I'm saying you should get out and work like everyone else. A man staying at home all the time is shameful. If you're a man, put on a suit and get out there. You cannot judge that I'm jobless just because I'm working at home.
You shouldn't talk back to your father. If you went back to working at the publishing house, we wouldn't have to deal with these complaints. Why can't you listen to what Dad says? Don't you think about how it feels for me to be scolded?
I knew your parents were overbearing before we got married. I knew Mary couldn't strongly oppose what they said. But we got married knowing that. But working freelance allows me more time at home and to earn more. Why should I go back to a clearly worse job just for appearances?
And that's because...
Because what matters is how you look to society. What else is there? I am not asking your opinions, but Mary's.
I am... What is this noise?
Sarah. She's Sarah. She is in the first grade of high school. Recently her attitude has changed a lot, though our relationship was never great to begin with.
You rely on Grandpa and Grandma to pay for everything, so how can you be so high and mighty?
Who told you that?
Grandpa, of course.
Do you believe Grandpa over me?
Grandpa worked at a big company as an executive. He's impressive. It's natural for me to see you, a freelancer, as jobless.
I never imagined I'd be labeled unemployed during those weeks you stayed with them.
Well, so...
I told you to stay away from a low-income man like him. We had to allow the marriage because you were already pregnant, but we can't continue this marriage with things as they are. You want us to get a divorce. Mary, are you thinking the same?
I am tired of being criticized by my parents whenever I visit their home. I understand how it feels to be criticized by my parents every time I go back home. It's hard. Grandma always says Mom suffers because she married a man who earns so little. They even help with my high school tuition. You're the worst, Dad.
Mary was also a very tied-up person with her mother, so she would stay at her parents' house with the kids for a week, sometimes as long as 2 weeks. And I'm sure she'd badmouth me a lot, and I wanted to prove her wrong by the way I worked. But today's events made it clear that it would be hard to do that. Fine, I'll agree to the divorce. Do you still want to stay as a jobless? You can say whatever you want, but please wait for a month. We'll have the lawyers handle the details and put it in writing.
Tom...
Sorry I haven't been able to free you from your parents in the 15 years we've been married. I think we should get a lawyer to negotiate all the details and put it in a deed of construction.
Does this mean we get to live at Grandpa's place?
Yes, you can come back home. This house is worthless, but it'll serve as consolation. I'm afraid you'll be the one paying compensation. What? If you have any complaints, hire a lawyer.
Do you have the money for that?
Sarah.
What?
You shouldn't underestimate adults. It's a learning experience to go through some pain now, but you should always respect your elders.
Don't act all high and mighty, you unemployed.
As a result of the commotion on this day, the divorce proceedings are moved forward. The 1-month grace period had a reason.
We needed time to move out your belongings.
I'm sorry, but everything in this house was bought by me. Mary has no ownership rights.
What? That's terrible. Are you planning to leave your soon-to-be ex-wife with nothing?
I'm sure your wealthy family can provide you with expensive furniture and appliances. Once divorced, I'll be living alone, so I will dispose of everything in this house.
Wait a minute. Grandpa and Grandma bought the stuff in my room so I can take it, right?
Take a look at this.
What is it?
These are receipts for the desk and closet bought when you became a middle schooler. Whose name is on the credit card?
Tom?
That's right, I bought everything.
Grandma, what's going on? Well, we did give him money later.
I keep a record of all the gifts we received, including who they were from. The only gifts you gave were for childbirth and school entrance celebrations. The interest gift is in Mary's account, untouched. Would you like to see the bank book? It should match the amount I recorded.
How sneaky you are. What's going on?
Sarah, you're 15 and capable of thinking for yourself. The unchanging fact is that there is nothing in this house you and your mom can take. If you want to take anything from your room, you'll need Grandpa, Grandma, or Mom to buy it for you.
Grandma, you can do that, right? Don't talk back, you jobless.
Anyway, I'll sell everything, including the house, and will notify you regarding the division of assets, compensation, and child support. Sarah, take what you need from your room within this month.
Mom, is what Grandpa and Grandma say true? What do you mean all of a sudden? Is Dad really a useless person like they say? That he will eventually make us all homeless and that we must get divorced? Is it true? Well, they said all the allowances and gifts I got from Dad were actually from Grandpa. They kept saying he's unemployed, who does nothing and lies to us. I believe them, but is it true, Mom? Well, if your grandparents said so. Even when I got pregnant, they told me to marry him and have the baby because it would look bad otherwise, so I did what they told me to do. Mom, I think I should get divorced and start over, right? Yes, I'm looking for a good guy now, so you can't afford to fail again. I thought he'd stick with my job at a major publishing company for now, but quitting and going freelance seems pointless. You're right, I understand. Yeah, you're right. Hey.
Sarah? Hello? What's up?
Dad, I need you to listen to me.
Sure, what's going on?
Every time I go to Grandpa's house, I hear him badmouth you. Even when I get allowance or show things you bought me, he claims Grandpa actually bought them because you don't earn much, and we're only managing because of him. Mom never denies it.
Oh, it seems things have gotten worse than I imagined. I'm sorry I didn't notice.
I asked Mom today if Dad really is like that, then she suddenly started crying.
Really?
Yeah, I followed Mom's advice and got married when I got pregnant, thinking it was the right thing to do. She even cried to Grandma, and I thought I'd gotten everything wrong. But now I don't know how to deal with my terrible behavior to you. I couldn't think of what to do now.
I didn't have any word to Sarah, who started to cry over the phone. Of course, I can't forgive everything Sarah said, but I do bear responsibility for how things turned out for her. If I had faced this sooner and handled our relationship with your mom and her family differently, maybe at least Sarah wouldn't have these thoughts. Sarah, I think Mom grew up with what they call toxic parents. I suspected as much, but I never imagined it has such an impact.
I'm scared to be around not only Grandpa but Mom, but I cannot say to go along with Dad anymore. What can I do?
I feel bad for complicating things for adults. And Grandpa isn't the only one who is wrong here. It's the adult's responsibility. So can I make a suggestion?
Huh?
After 1 month.
Sign a divorce application here. Before that, here are the documents the lawyer prepared for us regarding the divorce. The amount of money from the sale, distribution of the current holdings, etc., from which the compensation is deducted. What? Why do we have to pay compensation? The things you and others have said to me over the past month amount to emotional abuse. I've also compiled everything Sarah has helped me gather regarding your statements about me. You've been feeding her a lot of lies. What?
Why are you siding with that lazy person, Sarah? You are a liar.
What?
I've seen Dad's bank statement, tax returns, and all of his records. Dad is making a lot of money. A take-home pay of $5,000 a month is tough to achieve even with side jobs for most employees nowadays.
That's just a temporary thing. He's not employed by a company, he just got lucky with his little ventures.
You've been saying that Dad earned poorly ever since he worked at the publishing house, but that's not true. He's been making at least an average salary or more, and Mom is a stay-at-home mom. Why did I blindly believe everything Grandpa and Grandma said? I feel so ashamed and embarrassed.
The way you treated us was horrible.
I don't want to talk to either of you anymore. And Mom, that goes for you too. Didn't you love Dad? Did you just marry him because you got pregnant with me? And now, as soon as Grandpa and Grandma tell you to divorce him, you do it without hesitation? Where's your will?
Enough. We will decide what's best for Mary. Fine. If you're not satisfied with the compensation, we can take this to court. How about that? Isn't a court case bad for your reputation? We don't want any money, just make sure to pay child support. About that, Sarah is transferring to another school. What? Given the situation on both sides, Sarah is suffering. As a responsible parent, I decided she will transfer to a high school with a good scholarship program. She's agreed to it.
What? I can't trust Grandpa, Grandma, or even Mom anymore, but I also can't forgive myself for hurting Dad. I'll get a part-time job to pay for my own expenses as much as I can. Dad will help me with the rest, but after graduating high school, I'll find a job and support myself. Dad, thank you so much for helping me, even after everything I said to you.
Seeing their granddaughter bow deeply in gratitude, Mary's parents became silent, realizing they couldn't control her like Mary. They quickly changed their approach. We don't care about a granddaughter who acts like that. As for the divorce, fine, but no court cases. It would interfere with Mary's chances of remarriage. We don't want a cent. Is that all? Understood. Then the divorce is settled. And so the divorce was finalized. Sarah stayed temporarily at a relative's house until she could transfer schools. However, a few days after the divorce. What are you doing here at this hour?
Give Mary back.
What?
Mary left a note and disappeared. It says, "Don't look for me. I need to find myself."
Maybe it's because of what Sarah said. We're already divorced and I know nothing about it. Don't contact me again. Even after that, the phone calls didn't stop, so I cancelled my phone contract, changed the phone number and house, and started fresh. A few months later, Sarah passed her transfer exam and continued to send assistance for her tuition and some living expenses. After 2 years. 2 years after the divorce, I received a letter from an anonymous sender. It turned out to be from Mary.
Dear Tom, it's been a while. This is Mary. My parents might have already contacted you, but I left my home. Sarah's words to me and our parents and I have been haunting me. I forcefully left because I knew I would regret it otherwise. I'm currently living and working at a kind shop run by a couple. I saw you by chance during a delivery and found out where you live, so I decided to write this letter. If we could talk one last time, I would be grateful. Please contact me if you can.
Ugh.
Have you told Sarah about this?
I hold custody after the divorce, so I told her as a responsible parent. She's surprised, saying that she can't believe Mom ran away from home and is now working at a shop.
Does she agree with meeting her?
If it won't hurt you, I think you should meet her, but if you'll regret it, don't go.
Sarah has grown up.
After transferring to her current high school and being away from the adults, she realized how strange her previous environment was. She became calmer and more peaceful. She now visits me during holidays, which I really look forward to. I want to express my gratitude for being able to start over after the divorce. That's why I decided to meet her today.
Tom's calm expression assured me that it would be okay.
Hello.
Hi, Mary. How have you been?
Tom.
As soon as Mary saw Tom's face, she burst into tears. Tom gently supported his ex-wife.
You're still as emotional as ever. Have you been well?
I'm really sorry.
First, let's eat. The food here is really delicious.
They ordered a set meal, and while eating, they started talking about the past 2 years. Mary is currently being supported by the couple at the shop and undergoing counseling treatment. The shop owner grew up in a similar situation and has been a great support to her. When Mary walked into the shop with only her wallet, the owner felt she was not a stranger and reached out to help her. I'm glad she met good people.
So, Sarah's doing well? I couldn't do anything for her.
Yes, she's doing great. She's much more mature than us, so you don't need to worry about her.
Will I ever get to see her again?
Sarah is in her final year now. We're planning a graduation and job celebration party. If you agree, how about you join us?
Is that really okay?
Of course, but it's up to Sarah. We need to make amends to her. So Mary, the next person you need to gather the courage to talk to isn't me, it's Sarah.
I'll try. I may never be a perfect parent, but I want to be an adult who can make things right.
Let's fulfill our responsibilities as parents together.